Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Smith. I'm the owner of SmithicAir. Basically, we're a thermal drone company, if you're not familiar with us. And I thought for today's video, with our search and find of Bruno, I would just kind of talk through the process as I'm going through. So we'll see if you like this or not. At this point, I'm setting up kind of how I want to view the thermal camera, and I've put it in inspection mode. So the colors are not all that bright, but basically when I got to the scene and took off, I saw this heat source. This heat source ended up being Bruno. The owner is a daughter of a homeowner in the area, and he was actually
That's what he does. Dad, that's what he does. That's him. Because that's what he does in the backyard. He just looks.
on the phone with some scammers saying that they had the dog when I found the dog. So I had the owner and his daughter. I guess the daughter is actually the owner. Come to the scene. We also had an awesome Kane County sheriff who actually loaned her backup jacket to the owner during the search because it was quite cold. And so we had a number of times where the dog basically burrowed into a spot kind of right where the X is, right there, and kept returning to that spot. And then we tried to lure the dog, so we had the owner out there, but then these coyotes came by, and even though the dog was about 80 pounds or something like that, the coyotes were coming to check it out, and so I kept on turning my lights on. Here comes another one from the right that I saw, and so I kept trying to scare the coyotes away. I don't think the coyotes would have attacked this dog, but they don't know how big the dog is until they investigate. So they were getting a little too close for comfort, and I kept on turning the spotlight on. Some of these coyotes were actually not running when I turned on the light, and typically when I turn on the light, they boogie. So that was a little bit concerning. But I kept doing that. At this point, I was also trying to make sure the coyotes didn't go close to the owner. So I was coming down quite low, and eventually the coyote heads off across the street to the north, and we forget about that for a while. So that luring attempt didn't work, and I just keep checking the status on the dog. Bruno, who had only been at this home for about 1.5 days, and Bruno had learned how to open the gate already. So this is Bruno's little home, a little burrow that he kind of dug in there to stay nice and warm tonight. And we decided to try to approach, this time the owner's father, approaching with some hot dogs. Bruno loves hot dogs, loves them. So that's kind of what we were doing. Here comes the owner kind of at the top of the screen. I was trying to keep an eye on the dog. Again, we were trying to use calming signals and trying to, this attempt was we were going to try to throw some hot dogs over for the dog. And as you'll see here, the dog eventually runs off. We decide to put a couple of hot dogs in the kind of spot where the dog was hanging out. And the dog did eat the hot dogs. And now this is back to the owner approaching again. And again, the dog wasn't having any of it at that point. Again, it's really hard to do a recovery by owner at night. Here we are in that same attempt. and you can see the dog approaching, and I think they were within maybe 8 feet, something like that this time. This is the closest we came to recovery, but it's really hard for the dog to trust, and the dog had only been at the house for a day and a half, and so just really hard to trust at that point. So you can see the dog coming up and getting so close, and the owner could hear the collar, things hanging from the collars kind of shaking around. So you can see, and then the dog turns and goes to the left. The dog did approach the cars from time to time. And then the next morning, one of our awesome dog search volunteers set up this trap at like 4 o'clock in the morning, had it set up at 4:30, and put some hot dogs in there. And out of the woods came Bruno, which was awesome. And of course, immediately ate the hot dogs and left everything else. So Bruno is definitely a hot dog. So it was a great deal. The dog search volunteers, there were 2 of them that helped this time, and then the Kane County sheriff was awesome as well. Here's my flight path. As you can tell, the dog was just going back and forth in the area. And here's the dog back at their house and hanging out. Thanks for watching.